Good day, Phil.
Good day, Ian.
How was your week this week?
Oh, it was eventful. I had a seminar to go to in Vaughan, and that turned into quite possibly the shittiest experience of my life,
Really?
but with good results.
So you went through trials and tribulations, and
I
then at
do.
the end of the road, there was a big fat golden crate.
There was. Would you like to hear the story?
Let's see, how much time do we
A lot.
have? 56 minutes and 38 seconds? Okay, sure, why not?
Anyone that knows me knows I've been trying to intern at 105.9, the region.
To help complete your degree studies and finally help you graduate?
Exactly. Because
Tell me
placement is
more.
required.
Tell me
Uh,
more.
so, it was pretty good. Everything started off great. I caught the right bus at my mother's apartment in Ajax to get to Pickering Go station.
Whoa, 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 hold on a sec. First, you got to tell me what time you had to be there and like what time you had to like leave your house and what was your
Okay. Well, what time I had to be there was the event started at 1 o'clock, but Tina Cortez, the station manager, had asked that we try and be there for noon, help set up and all that jazz. So I left my mother's house at about 8:30, give or take. Walked up to the closest intersection, caught the next bus, and everything was going swimmingly. I caught my first bus perfectly on time.
right?
The Go bus was actually a really nice guy, and he let me run in to buy my ticket,
Nice
which
guy, nice guy.
some drivers will just take off because they're kind of dicks like that.
Yeah,
But
they didn't have their coffee that day. They might make you the example in front of everybody.
no, you can't get on my damn bus. Get the
Pay
fuck out of here.
pay the fare or leave, sir.
Well, so that's basically what happened. He let me go in, pay my fare. I got the day pass because I knew I had to come back that direction,
Mhm.
and everything was all fine and dandy. I get on my Go bus to York University because that's apparently that's quite the transit hub. Because I got off the bus there, and their bus loop is almost triple the size of Durham College's bus loop. There's
So
probably about 15, 20 different TTC buses, 10 or 11 different Go buses, and so on and so forth. And from there, as far as my Google directions were concerned, I had to catch the Viva Orange line. I think
oh
Viva is just like an express TTC thing that only goes to like 3 or 4 stops along the line. Because it was a pretty cushy bus and it
yeah, no,
seemed
it's
special.
once you like cross a certain line, like York University is kind of like a northern, and then once you like cross that point, I think it gets into like Vaughan and like Richmond Hill
Yeah,
and
it's
Thornhill. I forget what that municipality is called, but that's pretty much what the Viva buses are. I've never actually taken one, but I've seen them, and I was
one
like, "What the hell is that?" Such a
from what
mysterious
I
bus.
saw, from what I learned through my trying to figure out how to get to this event in Vaughan, was the Viva line is a flat rate of $4 within a certain region or certain district of York region. After, like, if you cross into a different district, it's
Mhm.
another dollar and another dollar as you
Oh,
go
right,
through
right,
the districts.
right.
So I was pretty happy. I was like, okay, my event is in the same district, $4, beautiful. That's exactly how much I have after buying my Go Bus day pass. So everything's going great. I even text my mom and was like, this is going really well. Like, I'm going to be there with ample time. I'm going to be there
Right.
just, I'm going to have
So
a great
at
time.
that point, did you officially let your guard down and start celebrating that you made it there
Yeah, that's
stress
it.
free?
That's
And
exactly what happened, and I
so,
screwed myself.
so the bus gods or the transit gods came down to humble you.
Oh, I was humbled to the max, my friend. I'm not sure if there's two different orange lines or if the bus goes in different directions from York U and I just took the wrong one. But I got on the orange and he takes me to Downsview Station. And as he's pulling out of Downsview Station, he's like, oh shit, you were supposed to get off there. That was the end of the line. And I'm like, I have no idea where I am, but okay, I'll get off here, I guess.
So did
Oh,
panic set in? Like when he gave you, he's like, "Oh, you should have got off." I mean, what was your demeanor? Did panic set in? Were you
it
like,
was more
"Oh,
so
I'll just figure this out"?
I knew I could get there, but my concern was at this point I've spent the last of my cash. I planned to only buy the Go bus and the TTC bus. I didn't account for having to buy another bus or maybe even getting a taxi if the situation arose. So I was like, you know what? screw this driver. He's kind of a dick for not telling me that was the last stop, since I clearly didn't know what was going on when I got on the bus. But anyway, I felt good. I felt all right, and then I looked up the walking directions to this Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. It's a nice place, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, didn't we also experience a nice Toronto super snowstorm
We
that
did.
day? So you
Sunday
also
night was snowing like a crazy person, so obviously, of course, with my luck, I get off the bus and not a single fucking street has been plowed. Or
and
the
at this
streets
point
have, but the sidewalks aren't.
and at this point the weather has not affected you yet. You've basically just been traveling by bus.
Yeah, I've been good to go. I was staying warm. I was staying good. I had my gloves. I had a toque. I was
Mhm.
good to go. I was
Okay.
like, you know what? I'll just walk there because I don't want to spend the money, and I can't risk taking the extra time to wait for cabs and so on and so forth.
You're
So,
the classic rebellious student trying to make it from the bottom to the top.
oh,
You
I'm like
you
that
didn't
Drake
plan
song.
you didn't plan for any mistakes. You only budgeted smooth sailing.
It was smooth sailing up until this point. So I start walking, I look up my directions, because I recognize the area. My dad has driven past it many a time when we go to pick up my stepmom.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, this looks semi familiar. At least I recognize the neighborhood. At least I recognize where I'm at. And then I look at the directions and realize that I have a 2.5 hour walk from where I am to my event. And
Oh my god.
when I get off the bus at Downsview Station, it's 10:30. And as I said at the beginning of the story, I had to be at the hotel for noon. So I was
Jesus.
like, oh, good, good. This is going to go well.
See, the one thing, like my personal history with Downsview Station is anytime I was going to like a mega concert or something cool, uh, you head to Downsview Station and you catch some bus that takes you to Downsview Park, which is like that old. There's like nothing around there. It was like an old airfield, and now it's just used as like a concert ground. Being lost at Downsview Station in Toronto in the middle of winter after a giant snowstorm,
When
being
I
late to a to an interview that is going to
decide my
guarantee
fate, yeah,
guarantee your placement and decide your fate. So this sounds like at the very last minute, it kind of sounds like you're 3-1 down in the playoffs.
this is exactly what's
and
happening.
LeBron James just knocked on your doorstep.
Yeah, my life was the Golden State Warriors. I was so confident. I was ready to go. I was loving life. I was saying hi to random people and be like, "Hey, everyone, this is great." It all went wrong from there because I started walking, and I trust Google directions for driving, for walking. I was like, okay, I'll follow their directions, but apparently the Google gods, the transit gods, whoever is in charge of
Illuminati.
setting Illuminati, there you go.
Mhm.
Breitbart, everyone's involved. Everyone ruined Phil's day. So I started walking, and it decided it was going to take me through a nice, like, industrial park with, like, I'm pretty sure I walked past every mechanic in York region on my way there. But it was bad because there was, like, snow up to, like, past my ankle, and I had to walk through it. I have no choice but to walk. Toronto drivers are not nice like Durham drivers. They will splash me, they will hit me if I'm on the road.
They sure will.
So I get going, or my shoes get a little snowy, but whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
So at this point, I mean, physically, you're walking well. Your endurance is up there.
Oh yeah,
You're,
I'm
you're
feeling
not
good.
you're not over sweating.
No, and
Your pits are dry. So far in your journey to return the ring, so far so good.
so far
You're
so good.
You're determined. You're on your way, and things are looking up. Continue. Sorry.
No worries. So from there, I walk and I walk and I walk. I'm starting to get hot, so I figure, okay, I'll take off my toque and gloves because,
Un-Canadian of you, but
heat from my head and hands was probably adding to why I was sweating so much, and I didn't really want to take off my jacket with how windy it was. So I take those off, put them in my pocket. I call my dad because I'm just frustrated as all hell, and he's the person I talk to when I'm frustrated. He's trying to help me out. He's trying to keep me calm. I'm like, okay, as soon as I got off the phone with him, it was like, fuck it. I'm just going to walk and keep walking and walk and walk and walk and walk because that's what I'm going to do. I came this far. I'm not giving up now. And so,
don't back Philly in a corner.
Exactly. Nobody puts Philly in a corner. So I'm walking and walking and walking, and I turned onto Finch, I believe it was,
Okay.
coming off of Keele. I don't know Toronto streets, so I may be wrong about the streets, but I turned onto a major street, and then partway it's like,
Yo, that's not even Toronto, bro. That's like York Region, man.
that's what I'm saying. This whole thing is York Region.
Sorry, I just had to say it. Sorry.
Oh, all right, it's fine.
Because yeah, same way. Like when I'm doing most of my traveling, I'm either in the downtown core, east of Toronto, west of Toronto, not really north, but like York Region, especially in the York University area. It's such a large space, and yes, that it's like city and residential, but you can go through these like large stretches of just like forest, like you were saying, industrial road.
Mhm.
Man, if you're walking that, that is even on the nicest of days, that is a long, treacherous walk. And also in Toronto, like for Toronto being a supposed sophisticated city, when it comes to like bike lanes and like walking lanes, man, pedestrians, we have more pedestrians that get killed on the streets than like actual murders.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And you have just placed yourself in a prime time hit and run situation.
with about a foot and a half of snow on the sidewalks
so
as well.
your body would just be like on ice.
Oh,
On ice and some brown snow.
The pure frustration. At this point, it kind of stopped being frustration and just started being flat out anger. Like what the hell did I do to warrant the universe fucking me in the ass like this?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon the grossness of that, but that's how I felt. And I was walking, and I eventually was like, my hands are kind of cold. I've gotten a good pace. I'm not really sweating like I was. So I go to check my back pocket where I had put my gloves in toque.
Don't tell me.
At some point along this journey, all three had fallen out of my pocket. I don't have time to go back. I'm already a 2.5 hour walk, and I'm already late. So that was wonderful.
Modern day Revenant.
It was Revenant. I'm basically Leo DiCaprio, including the wax in my beard.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Call my dad again, get my frustrations out, and he's like, "Okay, Phil, whereabouts are you? I will look up directions and I will text them to you, so you don't have to keep using data and battery power just to figure out where you're going." And then, lo and behold, I look to my left, and what do I see? But York University, where I started from.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh, so I've been walking for 40 minutes, and I'm now back where I started.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was the worst. That was the most frustrating part. Well, I mean, the whole thing was frustrating, and it keeps going. I just keep pushing forward because at this point, I'm too stubborn to stop.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the reason I didn't get my internship.
Yeah, there's nothing more embarrassing. There's nothing more defeating than when you've made an honest attempt. You're taking that extra step to do something to get ahead. And there's nothing worse than being in that situation where you have to take your phone and you have to call your manager or whomever is expecting you and give that lame ass excuse, that like loser quitter excuse. I didn't plan out properly. I can't find where I am. I'm lost. I'm not going to be able to make it. There's nothing more defeating and embarrassing to have to make that call.
Oh, it's funny you mention that because that was literally my next step. When I was passing York University and I realized how much I had left to go, I called Tina Cortez and left a message being like, look, I took a bus in the wrong direction. I might be late, but I'm still coming. Please don't, I'm not dead. I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, no worries. There's lots of time. Take your time. And I don't think she knew that I was walking, so she might have changed her tone if she knew that. But so I keep going, and now is when the weather started to affect me. As I got closer to the 407, you have to go up over the 407 to keep going where I was. So I was having snowdrift blast me in the face for the next 20-25 minutes of my journey. There's no one cleared the sidewalks on these bridges over the 407, so I'm walking in 1.5 feet of snow.
You're basically in no man's land.
I felt like I was in Iqaluit.
For listeners who are unfamiliar with the 407, basically the 407 is just this privatized road that you have to pay a substantial amount of money to take. It's really good. I mean, if you're lost and you're stuck in traffic or whatever, this is like a quick route to wherever you're going. But it's basically north of everything. It's in no man's land.
Yeah.
Coyotes and wolves still lurk in these forests if you have to spend the night out there. And our good friend Phil is just taking 25 to 30 minutes of wind, snow, rain.
And I'm
He's
trying
lost
to
all
keep
his
my
winter.
temperature down as well.
And he's lost all of his winter protection. No
Yeah.
gloves, no toque, bearskin. In Canada, bearskin and cold don't mix.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, as my frustration built, so did my temperature. Because people, that's where the expression "you're getting hot" from, or "you're getting red in the face," whatever. I don't know the expression. I'm not smart.
He's still suffering from hypothermia.
Yeah. So I'm starting to get like sweaty. I'm like, I'm about to meet a bunch of hoity-toity, highfalutin type of people. I can't be sweating from the pits. I can't be looking like a fat kid that just burnt through a cake. I've got to try and keep
First impressions.
exactly. Like, I knew Tina Cortez, but I was also meeting the GM of the radio station. I was meeting their production team. I was being introduced to basically everyone I could potentially be working with. So I figured, okay, I'll take off my jacket for a bit, just let the temperature, like the wind and the snow and the sleet that's punching me in the face, help me in this instance. And that was going good, and everything was fine. But at some point, while literally crossing over the 407, I slipped on some snow, stepped weird, felt a bit of a shooting pain in my leg, and I was like, well, that fucking hurts, but I don't really have a choice but to keep going.
The cold has numbed down your senses.
Yeah.
You felt a little tear in your leg, left leg, right leg?
In my left leg. At the time, it felt like I was just overexerting myself. It felt like my muscles were like, what the hell are you doing, Phil? I don't do stuff. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like...
You've already tested your muscles for about an hour of, like, straight walking.
Yeah, through a foot and a half of snow. Like, I think it wouldn't have been as bad. I probably could have done this 2.5-hour journey in, like, 2 hours if there wasn't snow on the ground. Because I walk fast, and if I've got a nice clear path, I'm gold. But so I feel the tear, or the pain. I keep going, and then I finally get to like probably 3/4 of the way there, and then like, okay, I'll just check my directions, make sure that I'm on the right path, and because of the wonderful country that I live in, that I love so much, it's Canada. Fucking cold.
Oh, Canada.
And my phone decides, I'm too cold. I'm turning off.
Oh my God.
So now I'm in the middle of Vaughan, New York region, whatever you want to call it, and I have no idea where I'm going. Like, I kept checking my phone every couple minutes just because I wanted to be sure that I was heading the right way. I wanted to be sure that, there wasn't a road that Google Map didn't know about. But my phone has since turned off, and my phone was also at like 20%, so I was like, okay, maybe it could be legitimately dead. So I just tuck it into my, at this point I put my jacket back on. So I tuck it back into my jacket, and I'm like, I know that I have to go west on this road. I was on that step of the process, and that was a pretty lengthy process. So I'll keep going, and thankfully, a nice young lady I never got the name of at a car dealership was nice enough to give me directions. She punched it in on her computer and then wrote up a Post-it note for me and sent me on my way.
Angels in disguise. So you're out on the road for over an hour. You've lost your gloves. You've lost your toque. You've lost the bare essentials to survive in Canadian winter. You slip. You hurt your groin. You pull a groin muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You're in pain, but the cold is numbing the pain. Your last connection to the world, your last connection to your family, your last connection to any map has now disappeared. You're on your own in the middle of nowhere, and then an angel from above gives you some directions. At this point, how much time do you have left to get there to be on time?
When I walked into the car dealership, or last time I checked my phone before it turned itself off, was about 11:45, and I was like, okay, I was supposed to be there for noon. This is bad.
And you sure your butt cheeks weren't doing any secret calling?
I'm positive. I keep my phone in my chest pocket for just that reason.
Okay, all right. Because in the past, my butt cheeks have sent out some pretty scandalous text messages to random strangers.
That's a
So,
story we need to delve into.
because no, well, I'm just saying. I mean, sometimes you think you have 87% power, then you look at your phone and Siri is asking you a bunch of questions, and you only have 15% power left. Just throwing it out there. It happens if you put your phone in your back pocket,
Like an Ian.
I was thinking of like a 1950s leather jacket wearing motorcycle riding type. Fonzie, that's who I was thinking.
Fonzie. Yeah,
Who like
Fonzie
Fonzie?
seems like the type to put his phone in his back pocket.
If he had an iPhone,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I go into the car dealership, and to be honest with you, to be honest with the listeners, I was fully expecting her to be a complete bitch. I'm like, well, I can't really do that. That's not. And give me
Unless
some
you're buying
excuse.
something, I can't really help you out, sir.
Well, that's why I went with a car dealership as opposed to a fast food joint, because I figured, what is she doing other than answering phone calls?
Yeah.
As
The
mean
problem,
as that is.
the problem with fast food employees, God bless them for enduring so much pain and abuse from their customers. But anytime you need help from someone in the fast food industry, they take that moment, that little bit of power that they have over you,
Mhm.
and they abuse it to its full length. So I can totally see you being red faced, tears in your eyes,
Oh,
tears in your nose,
I was sweating.
And
I
some
was
old-
cold. I was everything.
and some old fast food lady is like, "Sir, if you're not going to buy anything, could you please leave?"
Exactly. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting that mentality of someone or this young woman just telling me she couldn't, and I was fully prepared to just fucking explode at her and just go off on a movie style monologue about how my fucking day has been awful, and if she doesn't help me, there's a good chance that I go on a murderous rampage.
This whole thing, I'm just feeling this is like a Canadian Lord of the Rings, and you're Frodo Baggins. You've just passed out someplace, and a wonderful elvish queen has just visited you and gave you some hope.
I love that analogy because one, I could be Frodo. 2,
Mhm.
elvish queens are amazing. And 3, she was very pretty, so it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind trying some of that elvish bread.
That shit is yummy, dog. No, so she gives me the directions because she's very nice. And, I'll skip the rest of the journey because it was uneventful. It was actually pretty good, other than having to continue to walk with a bum leg. So I keep going, and the seminar itself, I managed to make it there before like the actual attendees. I was there as a volunteer helper of 105.9, the region.
Damn.
I have to say it like that.
I'm proud, man. I'm proud that you persevered through this because, like you said, everything was going smooth, everything was going good, and then one hurdle after another, one hurdle after another. Mother Nature and the universe gave you tons of opportunities and reasons for you to quit. But you did. You kept on going. You found the secret elvish society. You were on time. You impressed Tina Cortez and all these people. And what was the end result, my friend?
Well, actually, before I tell the end result, I just remembered a part of the last leg of my journey that was wonderful. I was like, it's at this point, my phone had turned itself back on because it got warm again. So I checked the time and I was like, okay, the actual event starts at 1 and it's about 12:35, 12:40ish. And I can see the hotel I'm supposed to be getting to, but the direction she had given me was a couple right turns, couple left turns, and I was like, fuck this. There's 2 fields between me and this hotel.
And the amount of shit that you've been through, you didn't think twice about just running through it. If things had gone differently, you might have been too gentlemanly to walk across those fields.
Yeah. At this point, my feet are already cold.
You were turned into a savage. Wow,
crazy. I was an animal at this point. Like, my feet were already cold from just the snow resting on the side of my shoes and like soaking into my shoes. Which, side note, my shoes are ruined, but that's not the point. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm cutting across this field. I'm sure it's about as deep as the snow I've been walking in with the very first step. Actually, no, it probably 5 or 6 steps in because I'm It started off pretty great, and then a couple steps in, when I've already passed the point of no return, like, I'm not going back now. I step in snow that's halfway up my shin, and snow just pours into my shoe like the Titanic getting water just rushing in from the iceberg. Like, it was bad. I've never had that much snow in my shoe in my life, and I'm freezing at this point. Like, my feet are gone. I can't feel the left one. Right one is having a hard time. And I eventually get to the hotel after trudging through like 27 feet of snow. And, I've got to put on a brave face. I can't be like, Tina, I have to go to the washroom and dry my pants.
I'm wet. I can't feel my toes. I'm glad you didn't do that. So you put on the mask, you put on the brave face.
Yeah, and I got there. I managed to keep my dress shirt nice and clean. I managed to keep the armpit sweat down. I managed to get there in relatively good shape considering. Like, inside I was dying a little bit because I was just exhausted mentally and physically at this point because I just walked for 2.5 hours. And the event goes well. It's an advertising seminar about the importance of advertising in local markets. York Region is not just for hipsters anymore. I may start talking in that voice just when promoting anything.
Hey, I need that in my life. Please keep talking in that voice.
I can do, Ian. So,
okay, continue. Sorry.
I go to the seminar. It's pretty good. The quality of videos and presentations. Clearly, these people didn't get the training that we've had through our schooling and stuff. Because, like, there was one video that I thought, our professor Phil Raby would probably fail if it was in his class. But
it happens.
So the seminar is good. The free food is amazing. Like, I'm not sure who the caterer was, but I know that 105.9, the region, paid for it. And
are you allowed to legally keep saying that?
I don't know. Okay. We'll find out. If my internship gets canceled, we know why. No, so the food is great. There's chicken wings. There's, I don't know, like they said there were rice and veggie balls, but it was just like a ball of gooey, cheesy deliciousness.
Oh my god, this is just one Lord of the Rings moment after the other. I have to backtrack a little bit to when your phone started to flicker again. Mm-hmm. That I just was reminded of when Frodo has his sword, and then it turns blue when orcs are in the area.
Yeah, Sting.
Yeah, it's kind of like your phone was like, destination around the corner, using my last bit of soul to direct you.
Yeah, it crapped out pretty good.
And then back again, you're in the Elvish Kingdom, and they're just giving you.
And the coffee, my God,
and you're not a coffee man, so
I am in certain circumstances, and in this situation, I was like my feet were frozen. I was now warm because I had been in the hotel for a couple minutes now, and
you're sheltered.
I was hoping that the coffee would warm me up enough to ignore how cold my feet were, but did a pretty good job. The food was good. Everything at the event went well. Tina Cortez made a point of asking me, you're still interning with us in March, and I was like, absolutely. I kind of thought that was the whole point of this. And, we exchanged information and stuff, and everything goes off without a hitch. I'm going to just kind of fast track to the last legs of the journey because nothing really happened between the event itself and getting back to York University. Getting back there was actually a really nice walk. I think it was just the stress off my back. Everything was going good. I was already cold, so I didn't really care about the fact that my feet were cold. Whatever.
You're fed. Warm cheese does go a long way.
There was crab cakes there. There was lasagna there. There was chicken wings. I got a container of free food because they're like, the food's just going to get thrown out anyway if it doesn't get eaten. You're a struggling student. Take some food.
Nice.
Somewhere along my journey, my wonderfully handicapped left hand decided it was going to crunch the container that the food was in, and the food just kind of started pouring out the bottom.
Got too excited.
I did get to keep 2 cans of Pepsi, but that's not the point.
Ugh, Pepsi's terrible.
It did all right. So yeah, I get to York U. I'm waiting for my go bus. Everything's all fine and dandy. I'm like, wow. I really walked a lot. My leg is hurting pretty badly. This I must have just overdone it. I must have pushed my luck a little bit. And I'm like,
You sure have.
all right, whatever. Things are good. I get on my 51 Go bus to Pickering Go Station.
Lucky you. Lucky you.
I didn't realize going there. I was very fortunate that I caught the 51B, which was an express to York U, because I was thinking about it after the fact that if I took the one I had caught going home, I probably wouldn't have gotten to York U until about 11:45, which it would have had me at the event at like 2 o'clock.
Or it could have set off the motions of you getting there without any issues.
Yeah, it's like a butterfly
Two
effect.
different-
I don't know. I don't know these things. So I sit, I relax on the bus. I'm like, I can stay warm. Everything's great. I got the internship. She's sending Phil Raby an email saying I got the internship. Everything's good. And then I tried to get off the bus. Oh
You
my-
tried to get off the bus, but getting off the bus sounds so easy. What could possibly prevent you from getting off the bus?
Remember back in near the beginning of my story when I said that I felt a bit of a shooting pain in my leg, but I ignored it?
Mhm.
That pain in my leg when I stepped off the bus was so bad, was so tremendous, that even shivering felt like someone was punching me in the leg. It was the worst
So-
pain I've ever experienced.
So basically, your frozen leg that received a groin pull basically thawed out in the warmth of the buses. And then when you try to reactivate that muscle,
Yeah, that's when
all the
shit
feeling
hit the fan. And it was bad. I'm not exaggerating when I say that even shivering hurt. I've never felt that kind of pain, that much pain in a muscle before. It was bad. At this point, I'm like, you know what? My mother's apartment is down the street from Ajax Hospital. Why don't I just go to Ajax Hospital, go to the ER? Because this doesn't feel right. I'm used to overexertion pain. I'm used to like the muscle burn you get from going to the gym. And this wasn't it. This was something more. This was something a lot worse. And so I go to the ER, but stupid me gets off the bus at the wrong stop because I don't know buses in Ajax. And I then have to walk 2 blocks from my bus stop to the Ajax Hospital.
I think you might need a service animal in
Or-
the future.
Or just a wheelchair. Or something to stop me from hurting myself all the time.
Even if you had a wheelchair, you'd still get off the bus at the wrong stop, and then you just be that guy stuck in the middle of nowhere in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah, that's true. That would make life pretty difficult. Alright, maybe I'll just get robot legs.
Oh man. Okay, so what time did you actually leave your house
I
in the
left
morning?
in the morning, 8:30.
And what time did you find yourself in the hospital at nighttime after securing your placement?
9 o'clock.
That's a day full of pain. But when I think of this whole story, I mentioned I already thought of Lord of the Rings saga, but I came across some kind of meme, or as I like to call it, meme. There was like this guy, and he's like digging in the dirt, and he comes across. He's like inches away from discovering like this big diamond,
Mhm.
and then he gets frustrated and he quits and he walks away. And then there's someone else who just keeps on digging and then breaks through that spot and is
It's the sweet diamond.
rewarded with the jewels. And that's what I'm thinking of, man. Like I said, you had every opportunity to quit. You knew it was on the line. You visualized yourself, or you called in and was like, I might not make it.
No, I never said
holding
I wasn't
together."
going to make it. I said I'll be there. I'm just not sure when. I've always kind of given a lot of credit to just my pure Irish stubbornness. And it's fact that throughout my life, there's been times when me being as stubborn as I am has had a serious effect on me doing things.
Mhm.
And this is that day was one of those instances because I wasn't going to let something as stupid as a pain in my leg or my phone turning off or just random bullshit the world decided to throw at me that fateful Monday. I wasn't going to let that win. I wasn't going to let my efforts, my stress result in nothing.
I mean, the importance of this day and of this moment is like 2 years in the making. 2 years of our school program.
Mhm.
This is the finish line. Basically, with Phil securing this placement, he basically just received 50% of his mark in our class,
Mhm.
which I mean, he's on the road. He's on the road to success. He's on the road to graduation. So hopefully next week or in the next 2 weeks, I'll have my own.
I genuinely hope so, buddy, because anyone that had sales, marketing, and promotions with us knows our event that we put on, the DC Cleans Up Initiative, where we went into the forest and cleaned it a little bit.
Made a big difference. Met a
Got
lot
the
of
mayor
great
to
people.
show up. It was a good time.
Met a lot of great people. Made a difference. Set some goals. Achieved them. It was an awesome time.
It was.
No, I'm not. With my internship, I'm not stressing about it. The only thing I was really and truly stressing about is finding the right place for me,
Absolutely.
and hopefully that after 8 weeks of working 8 to 5 for free, that it would
result in something.
Result in a full-time job, but not just like a full-time job or a full-time paycheck. Just being in an environment where you're learning something invaluable, like you're learning some type of knowledge that you'll only be able to learn on the job, and be able to take that experience and take that knowledge with you, with your journey, and apply it to like your next project somehow. So, I might just end up at that radio station. What was it again?
105.9, The Region.
But I have a couple of other choices that I'm just kind of waiting on. But yeah, everything's going to be coming together. But Phil, you shared a wonderful story of, people have seen The Revenant, but not many people have lived The Revenant.
No, that's what it felt like. And it was brutal. My murdered son was trying to get this internship. All I wanted to do was have crap that I went through actually mean something instead of just being a shitty day.
Well, you remember it, man. You'll definitely remember it.
Absolutely. Like I remember in one of our video capture classes, first time I ever worked with you, our whole shtick for our video was a really bad day. I should have just strapped a fucking GoPro to my head. That was bad.
That would have been great. So like I said, many people have seen The Revenant. Not many people have lived it, but you, Philip McCabe, have certainly survived The Revenant. So I'd like to share with you a story that it really humbled me. It brought me back to earth. It made me realize the value of a dollar, the value of time that it causes you to earn that dollar. So as you know, I just celebrated my birthday, and I was saving up my money for like a really long time to buy myself a new television. But every time I would get close to buying a television, or the television of my choice, I would always be surprised with the warranty cost. So I went to Best Buy, and the warranty that I wanted was $200. The television that I was purchasing was only $350. So this is like the warranty is more than half the value of the television. And like I said, I've been saving for a while. I finally purchased the television. My television came the other day. I hooked everything up. I hooked my PS3 up. I hooked everything up. Everything was looking good.
PS3, you're living in like 2010.
That is another story. That's a side story. I will totally get into it. Because like I'm at the point where everyone's buying PS4. I should be on PS4, but during my days of PS3, the only games I ever played was the FIFA franchises, EA Sports FIFA, and I played Grand Theft Auto.
Both quality games.
Both quality games. FIFA is very competitive. Once you get into it, it attacks your competitive spirit, and you just can't put it down.
Actually,
and the same thing with
continue
with most EA Sports games, basketball, hockey.
They don't have a basketball game.
They don't? Yes,
they haven't had a basketball game in 4 years now. It's 2K Sports or in 2K Games, whatever you want to call them, is the one that makes the basketball games.
So yeah, so you can tell how out of it I am. But I always had like an old television. I had like the 720 pixelation television. So when you would hook up your PS3 to it, it would look all blocky and squarey, and it would just
And
completely
words at itty bitty.
exactly, it would just completely ruin the experience. So there are so many wonderful games for PS3 that are out there that I never actually got the chance to play because at the time it was like, really expensive. I had to be on some kind of waiting list, but I was mostly just content with my FIFA and I was content with my Grand Theft Auto. So now all these games that I wanted to play like 5 years ago, instead of them being like $80, they're like $7.
Oh, don't even get me started on the price of video games. It drives me up the fucking wall.
The other day when you took me to Walmart to buy that subscription thing,
PlayStation Plus.
and I was looking at some of the new games and seeing that the games were like $80+,
Mm-hmm.
I became so frustrated, and I don't even own the PS4 yet. Yeah, that was basically before I wanted to purchase the PS4. I just wanted to really get my use out of the PS3 system, play only the best games of PS3 in 2012, 2013, 2014. I Googled, made my list, and that was my plan. So it seems like I've been waiting all this time, I've been saving all this time, everything has come together. I'm just feeling great. I'm feeling so fantastic. And normally, just like your story, when things keep going really, really well, you start to question, okay, I mean, things are going really, really well.
This is almost too good. What's the deal?
Yeah, this is creepy. Where is the banana peel to make me slip and fall and trip up?
To quote one of my favorite sitcoms ever, How I Met Your Mother,
do.
"Where's the poop, Robin?" What are you talking about? We grew up in a family with lots of dogs. We knew as soon as we walked in there and saw the dog's face. Where's the poop?
Lovely.
So, in your instance, you're asking the universe, where's the poop, universe?
Where is it? Where is it? So, on my way to this podcast today, I was taking the bus, and I was texting Phil. Good day, Philip. Hope you're having the merriest of days. What are you doing? And his response, oh, Ian, I'm just preparing my notes for today's podcast. I'm going to have a little pizza and garlic dip, and I will meet you at the studio.
The meal I had is a whole other story. That was awful. But we're not getting into that. Continue.
So, I'm riding the bus. That was the last time I'd seen my phone. iPhone 5S for anyone who wants to judge me on how much my phone is worth.
You're almost up to date with phones, so that's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty up to date with phones. So,
you're riding the bus. Stop, you're having a good time.
Yeah, I see my bus stop approaching. I wanted to get there about an hour earlier so I could send out some emails. And I take one step off the bus, and my back pocket is feeling light. And I'm one of these people that I always check my pockets, and I always go keys, lighter, wallet, phone. Phone? Oh, no!
Oh my
phone.
God! No!
I turn around, the bus doors slam in my face. I began Keanu Reeves Speed 2. Was he in Speed 2?
No, Sandra Bullock was in Speed 2. He was only in the first
one. I start
one.
Sprinting to catch the bus, and the bus just drives off. And the realization has just sunk in. I have just lost my iPhone 5S, which I've only half paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And all my contacts are in there. Like, I don't even know my home phone number. I couldn't even, like, call my family's house and say, I lost my phone. I couldn't even...
Not even calling an operator is awkward in that situation. Excuse me, miss, could you connect me to my mother, please?
Oh my God. And I just sold my iPhone 4S thinking, I'm never going to use this again.
Naturally.
So I sold my backup plan, and reality was just sinking in. Like, I'm applying for jobs, I'm applying for internships. I mean, I meet a girl. What am I going to say?
Here's my address. Please send me a letter with your name.
Exactly.
You know, we live in a day and age where not having a cell phone, as, like, you know, people talk about being disconnected and the man can't track you and so on and so forth. But in the world we live in the broadcasting world, in the young adult world,
It's everything.
It's required. Like you said, it had all your information, all your emails, and so on and so forth. This is a big deal, even if people think, oh, whatever, you lost a phone. Continue.
Yeah, just thinking of the process of replacing the phone. Like I'm expecting like a big refund from the school, and this refund is supposed to be enough that I might be able to take a vacation somewhere. I might be able to buy that XF 100 that cost $3,000. I might be able to.
XF 100 isn't $3,000.
It's $2,500 last time I checked.
Oh yeah, that's
That's some
true.
tax.
And I was thinking about the broadcasting kit because like you said, it's $2,500, and then the rest of the stuff in that broadcasting kit is like $500 combined. But that's not the point.
Forget the extra stuff. If you're paying tax on $2,500, man, that's what is that? $500?
That's an amount of money that I don't want to add because math sucks.
Yes. So
you're thinking about a new phone?
No, I'm not thinking about a new phone. I'm thinking about a new camera. I'm thinking about a used car. I'm thinking about a vacation to Corpus Christi, Texas.
Christi, Texas.
And
Why
getting
there?
some, because it's hot. They've got a wonderful Latina community.
Oh, Dios mío.
Also, how can you say no to authentic tacos?
I think it's interesting that when you think of authentic tacos, you think of Corpus Christi, Texas, and not Mexico or Tijuana.
Well, with Mexico, there's like a huge language barrier, and I'm of mixed race descent, and even though I have zero connection to Latino culture, I look Mexican. I don't have an American passport. I don't have a Mexican passport. I have a Canadian passport. In these troubled times in America, in Mexico, I'm too scared. Without the knowledge of speaking Spanish, I'm too scared to go to Mexico.
If you go to Mexico, any of the touristy cities, there's a lot of English. Like I was in Cozumel when me and my dad went on a cruise, and their English is a bit broken, but the language barrier isn't as big as you'd think.
No, it's not the people I'm afraid of, even though in some places I should be frightened. What frightens me is when you're crossing borders.
Mm-hmm.
Like your human rights, it's a big gray area. Strangers can go up your butt to stage 2 and to God knows where just to conduct a search. Someone who doesn't have the proper training and is looking at my Canadian passport, and I have a funny last name, and I look Mexican.
Sucram, what the hell kind of name is that? You're probably jihadist.
Exactly. My last name Sucram. It's a Hindu name, but someone who doesn't know the difference between a Hindu name and a Muslim name.
Yeah, John Smith at border crossing isn't going to know.
They're just going to lump me. They're going to be like, well, we got a Mexican-looking fellow with an Arab name.
He's got to be trouble.
With a Canadian passport. I mean, come on. That is frightening. But Corpus Christi, Texas, that was one place I wanted to go. Austin, Texas.
You're thinking somewhere warm, somewhere fun, somewhere off the beaten path.
Miami, Tennessee.
Miami's amazing for what it's worth.
Yeah, I was just going to take a Greyhound, buy a big bottle of Jack Daniels, drink my way, go on just for a little relaxation, a little adventure.
See, this sounds like a good use of that money. It could be construed as irresponsible, but you've got realistic goals for what you want this money for.
All of those dreams, all of those ideas are just now being tossed out the window.
Like my father, it left.
And he's not coming back.
That wasn't serious. I love my father, as we heard from the story before.
And he calls Phil all the time.
All the time. But anyway,
I'm all of my great ideas of what I'm going to do with this money now are replacing something I already own. And it's like, now I'm like, in my mind, I'm shopping for new iPhones. Do I get can I afford a 5S? Should I get an iPhone 6?
No, iPhone 6s are still really fucking expensive.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But, when I go there and say, I lost my phone, can you sign me up for something? The salespeople are going to be like, look at this iPhone 6 Plus. This is totally you. Imagine all the girls you'll get with this phone. Not like this small little look how small your hands have to be to operate a phone like this.
You know what they say about iPhone 6s Plus? If it can fit in your hands, so can she.
That's right.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like a promo Apple would put out there.
So I'm watching my bus. I've injured myself, much like Phil in his story. I've injured myself. I'm running towards the bus, hoping that the bus will say, "Oh, someone's running
No.
and waving in a panic. Maybe I should stop the bus and
Durham
maybe I can
Transit
help them."
does not do that.
As I found out. So I'm pretty much at the end of the line. My bus has a couple more stops before it reaches its end, and it's basically speeding towards Crackton.
Crackton, good
It's-
choice of words.
It's going to a place where crackheads and common people intermix at the bus terminal. My bus is going to keep on going for about 10 minutes before it reaches its station. Then it's going to stay there for about 15 minutes and another additional 15 minutes, and then it's going to start coming back. So my plan is, my only hope is to catch this bus on the way back.
Naturally.
So if my phone can survive making it to the station, making it for the waiting period, and coming all the way back, I mean, that is just asking for magic, asking for Jesus, asking for the luck of the Irish. All of these things have to come through for my iPhone
absolutely
surviving this bus ride. And it's February. It's Canada. I did not plan.
It's cold.
I did not plan on losing my phone and standing outside on the goddamn corner for 45 minutes to an hour. I was not planning for this. So here I am in my parka, in my jeans, in my Michael J. Fox running shoes, waiting.
Michael J. Fox running shoes? Do they vibrate?
No, they're white. They're made for California weather. And I'm suffering.
I just wanted to make a Parkinson's joke. It's fine.
I can't go there, man. I just saw Back to the Future the other day, and I fell in love with Michael J. Fox and good old Doc Brown all over again.
And the fact that they traveled to the future, which was, what, last year?
Yes.
That's amazing. Anyway, so, you know, you're expecting that, shit, your phone's probably gone. You're going through semi-scummy neighborhoods on a bus line that takes a lot of shitty people.
And I'm basically thinking to myself, I'm probably going to have to go 4 to 8 weeks without a phone, without texting, without...
Oh, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
All my resumes, all my business cards now have to be altered because my cell phone number is on there. Like I said, like Phil said, I'm going to have to put my address and my postal code for people to contact me. At the worst possible time, I'm searching for jobs, I'm searching for internships. Cannot lose my phone. And when the 6 to 8 weeks comes, I don't even know how I'm actually going to be paying for a new phone. I'm sad. Reality is starting
You might have
to
to
set
sell
in.
a kidney.
I know. I might have to become a cam model and get an ass wax. And
is there
do a
even
little shaking.
male cam models?
There must be. There has to be.
There, maybe. You know what? A girl I went to high school with is a cam model. Maybe I'll contact her and be like, "Hey, are guys cam models?" But this has nothing to do with the story.
This could be our last podcast because one of us might find a new career as a male cammer. Best of luck to you.
Cam boy. God, you sound sensitive.
I'm just a cam boy. Ooh.
Yeah. So, you know, you're waiting. No, you didn't end up waiting for the bus. You're hiking towards the bus, hoping that you can meet it.
Well, I'm at a bus stop, and at this bus stop, a bunch of people are starting to
congregate.
They're starting to wait. So I'm like, if in fact my bus comes and it's the same bus driver, it's the same bus, I'm not going to be able to look through the bus with all these people getting on. So I make the decision to just start walk sprinting to the next bus stop. Hopefully it's empty. Hopefully I'll run into my bus driver. And in the distance, in the wind, in the salt and the snow, I see the bus coming. I start getting butterflies in my stomach, in my testicle area.
The glory of the world has started to smile on you.
Well, at this point, I haven't realized it. My bus pulls up. I show him my pass. I say, by any chance, did anyone hand in an iPhone? Like
Oh yeah,
in this
I
day and
copped
age,
that.
in any major city, how how long can an iPhone survive on its own before it gets kidnapped and stripped and sold into prostitution? Not very long, because again, you're. Let's say I had a family with like 2 kids and they're hungry, and my wife likes wine, and maybe I have a little bit of meth problem. I find iPhone on the bus. That is a month's worth of. Sorry, I'm just getting worked up here.
No, you sound
I'm getting
excited.
worked up.
This is serious, you know.
This is serious business. I mean, this, like I said, you have a kid, you have a little baby, you have 3 diapers left, and you don't see money coming for our next month, or that baby needs formula,
Or it's
and
just ugly.
yeah, you're saving up for
If
that.
you have an ugly kid, then you definitely have gotta have money to get it places.
And there she is, an iPhone 5S.
Oh, she's beautiful. It must have been glorious. Paint us a picture of how you were feeling when you saw that.
Well, first of all, when I had the conversation with the bus driver, he's just like, oh, duh. I mean, you could go check. Was this a bus? And I'm like, yeah, it's the bus. And when I look back to where I was sitting at the very back, there was like a poor old like senior citizen guy, and he's either with his eldest daughter and his grandchild and some other old lady, and there's a the bus is pretty full.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, here we go, the moment of truth. I'm gonna walk over, and lo and behold, I get to my seat. My iPhone 5S is just sitting there. And at that moment, I heard the Christian angels of heaven, the trumpets playing. Did one just come in and leave a sound bite? Their heavenly voices sang a song, and there it was. And as I reached down to pick up my phone, what is truly mine, I could hear the whispers scattering around the bus. It's him! It's him! It's his phone! He came back! No, even the passengers on the bus could not believe that the person who left their iPhone has been reunited with it. I could hear the talk. I could hear the chatter. I could feel this buildup of energy on the bus.
Oh my God, it's him.
Yeah, exactly.
He found it.
The sweet Asian lady. Oh, that's him. It's his phone. He got it. Like my phone. Thank you. My phone took
Beautiful.
a 15-minute bus ride by itself to Crackton. It waited at Crackton Station for another 15 minutes. Then it came back for another 10 minutes. My phone was by itself for 45 minutes. And it came back to me. It's 2017. My iPhone came back to me, man.
I'm very happy for you.
Miracles-
This is an amazing
miracles happen.
experience.
The first thing I did was text you, Phil.
Have you checked if people put pictures of their genitalia on there?
Let's find out.
We're all on this journey together. Ian is punching in his password, and he is going over to pictures. He clicks on the pictures to reveal that there is no pictures of dongers.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
But going back, I just want to go back to the length I left my iPhone. Imagine like you left your kid in a mall for that long.
It's a bit different. There's a big difference between a child and an iPhone, though.
Is there?
Well, I mean, Siri. I actually like talking to Siri, so there's a big difference there.
Yeah, it makes me feel good knowing that I'm living in the future, just like Back to the Future. I'm talking into my phone. My phone is saying, "How are you feeling today, Ian?"
You can ask Siri to tell jokes, and she will do it because she's the best.
I'll try it out.
No, for sure though. It's a comparable experience though. That like losing something that important to your life, that precious to you, is mortifying. Like in my story, how my phone had turned off. It was scary in the sense that I became an ass ton of what if What do I do now? What's next? Just
Mhm.
the what's kept piling up, and you don't know what to do. You're like, I can look for my phone.
You could feel the tear ducts in your eyes starting to build up a little bit,
And
but
I'm like,
you weren't.
strong, Phil.
Yeah,
Strong.
this whole experience made me realize, what made me realize that I'm actually addicted to my phone. I didn't know that I was. I thought I was a trendy as 80 baby. I wasn't dependent on these types of things. I could go weeks if I wanted to without looking at my phone. But the thought of not having a
It's as
phone,
soon as you don't have it that you realize how much you need it, quote unquote. It's bad, man. You talk about being addicted to it. I can't count on a day to day basis the amount of times I check my phone just
mhm,
because it's been like 30 seconds since I checked it last time.
I never realized how great of a tool it is of wasting time. Like when you're in that, when you're taking that long bus ride home, you had a long day, you're taking a long bus ride home. It's 45 minutes. You just feel trapped, and then you just like look at your phone, look at a couple of dumb tweets, or you could look at a couple of sexy pictures on Instagram, and then next thing you know, oh, there's my stop. Oh, the phone is there to comfort you.
Absolutely.
When you're alone at night and by yourself and no one cares, who's there for you?
Your cell phone.
Steve Jobs' inventions.
Which, you talked about comfort, you talked about time killing stuff. You know what I did with my phone this morning? It sounds pervy when I word it like that, but
Okay,
I
I'm
checked
open.
out
I'm
the
open.
latest edition of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit. And my goodness, there's a lot of attractive women in the world of tennis.
Oh, my word.
Well, in general. And, it was, a lot of people are like, oh, that's demeaning to women, it's hypersexualizing them, and so on and so forth. But they sign up to do it. Like, I saw Jeannie Bouchard's post on Twitter, on Instagram, and stuff about how excited she was that she was in it, that she was a part of that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, it does sexualize them. Yes, it is at its very core demeaning to women because, blah, 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 blah. It's 2017, all
Anna
that feminist
Kournikova.
crap. Yeah. But, that's got to be an experience that's unlike anything else. That these professional athletes who get gawked at, who get ridiculed, who get told that they fucking suck because they haven't won a match in a while, or Ashley Graham, the plus size model,
Mm-hmm.
gets ripped on for her size, and yet she's still dropping jaws. She's still rocking people's world, and specifically Jeannie, as she started to lose last year or even the
Yep.
year before, whenever it was, she started to go on a bit of a losing streak. I felt bad for her because a lot of the good press she was getting, a lot of the good media attention she was getting, started to turn and be like, "Well, what's wrong with Jeannie? Milos is winning,"
Yeah.
and I felt bad for her because last year she was only 21.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That like she has this lifestyle where she's in Australia for 2 weeks, then she's in New Zealand, then she's in Singapore. She's globetrotting. She's traveling the world. She's
She's taking people on dates
basically
to Brooklyn Nets games.
lucky guy. But being 20, like when I was 21 years old, I'm like stuck in my hometown, you know, busing to Toronto and going back and forth. I was such a dope, and she at 21 years of age.
Is top 10 in tennis, probably one of the most attractive people in the sport.
Mhm.
And in general, she has potential to be the ambassador for Canadian sports. She's a good looking young woman that's bilingual and at the top of her game. If that's not an ambassador for sports for Canada, then I don't know what is.
Man, I've been waiting a real long time for Canada to have a men's and women's player actually challenging for championships. I've been waiting my whole life. And
It's coming
it's
soon,
fun.
man. It's coming soon.
It's fun.
You look at Milos, you look at Genie. Milos is a bit different because in the next 4, maybe 5 years, your Rafas are going to be retiring, your Federers are going to be retiring, your Djokovic's are going to be
Mm-hmm,
retiring,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and Milos is just below them as far as talent, as far as skill, as far as drive. So if once those guys are out of the way, or even as their career starts to hit the decline, Milos could be that guy that becomes the perennial contender, becomes the Rafas, becomes the Federers.
Well, I think those players are already on the back end of their careers,
Mhm.
and each tournament that passes, Milos keeps
He
advancing. He keeps getting farther. Like
and the
he is
people
definitely
he's
a
losing
threat.
to is the top guys.
Hall of Famers.
You know, and that's where I think it's going to be a longer time for Jeannie, just because she's the women's division is stacked from top to bottom. These women, I don't want to offend anyone,
Mm-hmm.
are absolutely amazing. Like you mentioned Kornikova, Sharapova before she got suspended was amazing. Venus, Serena, every woman in the division in professional tennis has potential to be the top woman in tennis.
That's great. Tennis is a great sport.
It's absolutely outstanding.
But you mentioned Eugenie made a super bold bet,
Mhm.
which she lost, and she fulfilled her end of
Which,
the bet.
why were
And
people surprised that she did that? That would be god awful PR if she agreed to that and then just never took him out.
yeah, well, I think it got so big that she was in a position where
She had no
she had to
choice.
honor it. But I mean, think about all the weirdo creepers who like text and message Eugenie Bouchard and are like, "Hey, baby, you look so good. How about a date?" And any female celebrity that has to deal with that,
Which
instantly block, stalk, police, help me. So most people get rejected right at the gate.
one I learned today actually watching her do a bit of an interview during halftime at the Brooklyn Nets game that Buddy his Twitter profile didn't have a picture of himself. And
What?
his profile picture is Tiger Woods, and like all his posts are like he's an avid sports fan, and he said he kind of asked her as a joke, and she accepted after looking at his profile, not seeing his actual face. Which I would. What, do you think that she would have said no if it turns out that he was some like gap toothed weirdo that has a mullet?
No, I think she would have went through with it just because there was so much publicity behind it, and especially if he was like this weird, ugly old man. I'd have been like, "Oh, she broke his old heart." So Bernard Francois lost his wife of cancer 3 years ago, and his only joy was women's tennis. It would have been spun like that. But the whole reason why I brought up the date is to talk about Valentine's Day, man.
Talking about Valentine's Day.
Yeah, man. How was your Valentine's Day?
My Valentine's Day was good. When was Valentine's Day? Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday.
Tuesday? Yeah. My Valentine's Day was good. I went to work. I spent most of the time sitting since I had a pulled groin and everything hurt.
Did you have a Valentine's Day card that you were going to give to someone special?
No, I haven't had a Valentine in a long time, but I still like the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday. For me, I've always been a bit of a hopeless romantic. So,
I hate that term, but continue.
well, bite me. It's a good term.
No, I hate when I hate the term hopeless. I mean, there are so many fucked up situations that are happening around the world. To add such a negative and like despairing word like hopeless to like your dating life, it already sets this frame of like this negative mindset.
No, I think
and
of it.
I just don't like it.
I think of it in a different light. Like when I call myself a hopeless romantic, I mean that regardless of what happens, I'm always going to be the romantic person. I'm always going to like those romantic gestures. I'm always going to be the person to do the surprises and the gifts and that kind of crap. That's what I mean by it. But
So why can't you just say you're a pro Valentine's Day dude?
Fine, I am a pro Valentine's Day dude. I do not condone this message.
No, condone it. I one of my bit. I was going to ask you this question a little bit later on, but in the spur of the conversation, I have to bring it up now. What are the things that make you despise Valentine's Day? What are a bunch of scenarios that make you really hate Valentine's Day?
The petty single people. anyone that knows me, and I feel like I use that specific line a lot when describing myself, but it's true though. Anyone that knows me knows that I've been single for a long time. It's been a couple years since I've had a serious relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
a couple months since I've had like a serious date.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the petty single people on Valentine's Day that'll be like, hashtag forever alone, and they post a picture of themselves with pizza and shit like that. Like, get over yourself. This is literally a holiday for people in relationships, for people in a situation that they can celebrate their love. So why are you going on your Facebook? Why are you going on your Twitter and hating the world for being romantic?
Yeah, it's either like they're hating the world, which I understand, and then it's like self-hating. It like triggers this thing to start this like self-loathing process, and that's what I wanted to get to. One of my biggest pet peeves about Valentine's Day is when guys, especially, like I'm kind of in the same boat where I haven't been in a relationship, a serious relationship in a long time. I haven't had a meaningful date in a long time. But my birthday is right around Valentine's Day, so it's like I'm still in birthday mode when Valentine's Day comes around it, and it doesn't even affect me. But what I really despise is when guys are like, "Hey man, how's it going? Not so
No
good. Why?
Valentine's.
Not no Valentine's date for me this year." It's like, oh my
Get
god,
over it,
are
man.
you really like defining your happiness and defining your life based on your uh, Valentine's Day date to non-date ratios? Like, are you serious? And like, how long is this like sadness gonna last? And then you also mentioned you go on like your social media, and then there's guys who are just like, forever alone, maybe next year. Where is my where is my soulmate wandering? Come
No,
on.
when I like Valentine's Day because it's a chance for even single people to just take a step back from all the bullshit in the world, take a step back from everything going on,
Mhm.
and just enjoy the celebration of unfiltered love.
Well, my whole thing, like, if you're in a committed relationship, you should be having like Valentine's Day dates at least once a week, or at least once every 2 weeks. You should be in that kind of state of mind. So when Valentine's Day does come around,
It's just another date.
yeah, it's just you don't even think about it because your partner knows, oh, we're gonna have fun, whether it's February 14th or if it's you know March, a Friday, a lonely Friday in March. And I have to say the other pet peeve I have is when people that are in relationships, they've like found that they're in a committed relationship, they found someone, when they actually complain about Valentine's Day. When they
No,
like,
that's just bad. I couldn't do that.
no, they just like the complaints are like, couldn't find, couldn't, couldn't find the right flowers, didn't do anything this year. She'll forgive me.
Hashtag love you, babe.
Yeah.
And I don't really have pet peeves for Valentine's Day, but there are things about it that I don't like. I don't like that it's super commercialized,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you know, I saw on my Facebook a whole bunch of Valentine's posts. There's a lot of people on my Facebook that are in committed relationships that have husbands, wives, significant others, and they, as much as it is commercial, and they buy them like flowers and chocolates and stuff. What gets me as a romantic person, what gets me as a person that likes seeing people happy, that likes seeing the love in the world, that likes seeing the light in the world,
You're
is
on the you're on the side of good.
the things like a friend of mine got her boyfriend a whole bunch of different candies, but that's kind of basic. But where it got amazing, where it got really nice, is on every single candy she took a different note and made some form of word pun in regards to that candy. You know, she put a
Beautiful.
it's fantastic. And she got him a rock star green apple, and the note was like, "You're my rock star," and I was like, "Oh," or "I really scored you," and it's on a score bar, and things like that. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Your nerdisms about Valentine's Day make me feel so happy inside.
I don't see the point in being negative about it and self-loathing and self-deprecating over, you know, you can change it if you're really that sad about being alone on Valentine's Day. I'm sure there's some lonely girl somewhere, or vice versa, lonely girl looking for guy. There's someone out there, if you're that upset that you're alone, go fucking look for someone then. Instead of sitting there on Facebook loathing other people for being happy.
Yeah. Like, it takes work to be sad. Like, you have to start by posting all these sad Facebook messages. You have to find the sad songs. You have to take the time to listen to all these sad songs. You have to do all these things to set a mind frame. And then once you have your mind frame set, then you're just like pushing out all this like, every time I look in the mirror, I hate what I see.
Every time you look in the mirror, these lines on your face are getting clearer.
It's like, Jesus. Like, how do you respond? Like when someone lays something like that on you, how can you properly give them a positive response?
You can't,
They put you in such an awkward situation that you have to like navigate around it and like be polite. I don't know. So Phil, what are your odds of Valentine's Day romance next year?
I can't really give you an answer to that, but it should be noted that yesterday or the day before, what is today, Friday? Then on Wednesday, I had gone to the Oshawa Center because I wanted to A, either pick up some beer or B, pick up some food because I was hungry or I wanted to drink some beer.
What do I always tell you about the Oshawa Center?
You always talk about picking up some wonderful Oshawa hose.
Oh, I don't use that type of terminology, but continue.
That word makes me uncomfortable. No, so I'm sitting there, I'm having my poutine, which is poutine for those that don't know, and I'm enjoying it, which I'm glad I decided to go the food route. It was actually my buddy Josh that was like, don't get beer, it's only Wednesday. And I was like, you know what, Josh, you're right, I should get food. I'm sitting there, I'm eating my poutine, and then, lo and behold, what happens to me, Ian?
The cheese melted in the perfect state.
Well,
and it
that
intertwined with the gravy, and it all laid upon a golden deep fried French fry, and it all melted in your mouth, and then you wash it down with the delicious Coca-Cola Classic.
You know what? Your story is much better than mine. No, I was sitting there, and lo and behold, a girl randomly came up to me. We started talking, and it seems that things could turn into something.
What? Was she in her right mind?
Yeah.
It
was her idea.
Did she have any physical disabilities or speech impediments?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did it seem like she may have been not taking her medicine?
She could have been. She could have not been. I'm not sure.
Did she happen to have a baby that was tucked away under the table?
Well, she does have a child, but for the sake of her privacy, I preferred not to go into too many details about her because it's still kind of fresh. We haven't even been on a date yet, so it's one of those.
Very gentlemanly.
I don't want to delve into it too much. I just thought that it was ironic that Valentine's Day I was alone, and I wasn't really sad, but it was like I was reminiscing about how the one Valentine's I actually spent in a relationship was really good, and the fun it was. So it was
fun I had on Valentine's. That's the date. Oh baby, sorry, I don't know what that is.
I got Saving Private Ryan, and it was so great.
But she had a kid. What I'm gonna do? Oh, sorry.
That got way off topic.
The melody just took my heart there for a second.
Yeah, you were living in that persona. But no, I thought it was ironic that the day after Valentine's Day, I'm sitting there eating poutine like a complete fat chud. And this girl just looking at me was just, holy crap, he's cute, he likes poutine, he's clearly Canadian. It's like, I don't know exactly what it was that made her that interested that quickly, but, I'm glad that happened, and this is an opportunity opportunity, I swear I can speak English, that has now presented itself and could turn into something pretty great.
Did she give you her phone number?
She did.
Did you call her?
I did.
And did you get an answering machine?
No, I've been talking to her pretty
my
regularly
God.
since then.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Because my whole thing when meeting new people is if you actually meet, don't get too excited. If she actually gives you her phone number, don't fall for that one. Don't
Well,
get too excited on that.
Yeah, it could be fake, but it could not be. You got to take that chance.
No, the only time I get excited is when I've actually had like my second or third conversation with someone on the phone. Even if I like got a girl's number and we started texting, ugh, even that seems like this like black hole, this like texting black hole where you're just like you're texting, you're communicating through texting, but there isn't like any real like feeling. So you're just kind of like getting like these
You're just
cold small talk.
keeping each other company for the sake of keeping each other company, for sure.
But there's no real connection. But I fell victim to that a bunch of times in my life where like I meet a girl, we have a great time, and then she gives me her number, and I'm like, yes, I met a cute girl. I'm probably she's definitely gonna be my girlfriend. And this time, 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be having erotic sexual encounters. Yes,
This is the best day ever.
and this is all based off a girl just like giving me her phone number, and then
She could have thought you were someone else, but fuck it, I
then-
got a number.
and then you say to yourself, "Yo, I don't want to call her too soon. I'm just gonna like be cool for like 36 hours, and then I'm gonna like nonchalantly call her."
Oh, hey yo, John, what's up, man? Oh shit, wrong number. Who this?
Yeah, exactly. You either get wrong numbers, they give you her boyfriend's number, you get a wrong number, you get her answering machine, and then you call back again, and then you get blocked. Why'd you give me your number if you were gonna block me? Just say
Whatever, bitch. You look ugly from the yard anyway.
Yeah. So I don't get my hopes up until like even if you go on a date. Like I remember when I actually passed the phone number stage, talked to her on the phone, and there was like an actual first date, and I was like, I let my guard down. I was like, it was the first date, and I'm just like, yo, 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be having erotic sex with this girl, and then I just have like the worst date ever, and I'm just like, there you go, I got my hopes up.
That's the end of that chapter. No, and
Exactly.
it happens. You bring up phone numbers and stuff. It's not a dating thing. It's not a Valentine's thing. But I remember when I was doing surveys for Go Transit, I was just riding various buses and getting people to punch in information. It was complete bullshit that I was getting paid for. But at one point, I had a Mormon come up to me, and he somehow convinced me to give him my number. And after he walked away, I called my dad, and I was like, so I just gave my number to a Mormon, and I'm not really sure how or what happened that this came about. And then within like hours, this person was texting me and like, oh, we've got a church meeting coming up. I don't know if they go to church. I don't know. We've got this thing coming up. You
Stay
should
away
really
from
come. You should check it out. And they kept like texting me regularly, asking me to come to these events. And it got to a point where I was like, look, I was just being polite. I'm genuinely not interested. It was either let you give your speech or tell you to fuck off. And I didn't want to do that.
You're a gentleman.
Well,
Especially
I mean,
in public places.
to a certain extent, because eventually it got to a point where I was getting text messages from this person on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So I text them back and was like, I don't know who you're looking for, but I just got this phone with this number.
Wrong number. Who this?
Wrong number. Who this? Is exactly what I did. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I don't like that it comes to that. I'm put in a position where I have to be rude to tell people no.
Yeah. I had a very similar exchange with Jehovah's Witnesses.
They mean business, man.
They mean serious business, man. My dad, he passed away in 2011, and so maybe like the last year of my dad's life, my dad was like, he was really lonely because he was always like a very social person. I wish I could be like half the person my dad was when it comes to being social, because he could just like steal a room. People that would hate him, they would
hate him
his-
for how much people like him.
no, they would be like, oh, Clyde Sucrum, what a dickhead. I hate that guy. And then they'd be like his best friend. Like my dad just had this thing with people.
He's got that infectious personality.
Like my dad was an immigrant, no education, no nothing. He literally just like talked his way into his job and kept on talking his way up into like promotion. But anyways, I got off track there. The point I was trying to make is that my dad was very, very social. So these Jehovah's Witnesses came, and my dad talked to them, and they would come and once a week, once every 2 weeks, they'd come and talk to him in the morning. They'd leave him Jesus is watching you pamphlets, and my dad passed away. So no big deal. We were all expecting it. But now these Jehovah's Witnesses, they still come to the house.
They're still looking for Clyde?
They are still looking for Dad. They're still looking for Clyde. It's 2017, so like 6 solid years has passed since my dad has passed away. They keep, Saturday morning. It sounds like cliche. It's like a cliche TV show. Saturday morning.
Coming to Clyde's house to recruit him to Jesus.
7 a.m., 8 a.m., Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Hello, have you... Nice West Indian ladies. Hello, have you had the time to look at our pamphlets? Oh, no, miss. We're not a religious family. Okay, thank you. They keep leaving stuff. They keep knocking. Weeks pass, months pass, years pass. They're still doing this. And I'm a nice person. I hate confrontation. You have to
Especially with that.
You have to step all over me for a long period of time for me to eventually lose my patience. And then when I lose my patience, I just have an outburst of rage and anger.
Yo, fuck your mama.
That might frighten people. But these sweet religious people had drove me to the point. And I was like, listen, you guys come every single weekend. Every single weekend we tell you we're not religious. We don't believe in Jesus Christ. We don't know if there's a heaven. We don't know if there's just blackness. And we don't want to debate you about it anymore. Like, we kill ourselves Monday to Friday. All we want to do is sleep in Saturday morning. All we want to do is sleep in Sunday morning. And every morning, you guys keep knocking on our door, and we keep giving you the same answer. And this had offended them. And they were like, oh, really? Okay, well then why did, they flipped through their notes, Clyde Sucram on May 2010 said we could come here anytime we want and talk about the Lord. And I finally just had to say, miss, my father died in 2011. It's 2016. It's 2017. Please take us off our list. And that's what it literally had to come down to for them to stop assaulting us. Is that in a form of assault?
Technically, yeah. And that's what drives me insane about it. Like, I understand having a cause. I understand having a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. But it comes to a point where you don't want to tell them to piss off. You don't want to tell them to get off your property or to call the cops sort of deal. But it almost forces your hand. Like, when I was still living at my mother's, my Aunt Inga was visiting. I forget what the circumstances were, but she was just visiting and so on. And someone, I don't know who, because we live in an apartment building, there's a lot of people.
Right.
Someone had let a person from Christian Children's Fund into the house. And you know what? They have a very noble cause. Their purpose is very noble and respectable. But it got to, like, he knocks on our door, and I'm like, I didn't know what to say. He was like, well, can I interest you in, a couple dollars donation? It's only like $2 a month or whatever the hell it was. And I was like you said, I'm not one for that type of confrontation. Like, you want to debate with me, sure, that's all fine and dandy. But that type of confrontation, I handle it by giving white lies, by putting myself in a position where I can't say yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, my wife's not here. I can't make this decision without my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy starts telling me how, you can sign up for it, and then if your wife doesn't like it, you can stop the donations down the road. And I'm like, or I can just not donate, because I just finished saying that I need to talk to my wife about it.
Let us pray about it.
And what
I kind of have to. It'll only take 5 minutes. Come, Philip. Let's pray.
Well,
And
exactly.
then you accidentally go. Yo, get the fuck out of here, man!
Oh, I was getting.
And then he yelled at me and told me to get the hell off his property.
No, and it didn't stop there because even before I told him I had a wife, he conveniently flipped through his iPad to and stopped on a random girl and was like, "Well, it happens to be Stephanie's birthday today. Could you deny her a birthday gift?" And I'm getting frustrated. So I'm like, "No, but your sweet gold chain looks like it'd work out as a nice gift." He's got nothing for that, and I tell him, "Look, I'll talk to my wife. I know who you guys are. I'm sure I can find your number if we're interested."
Exactly. If I'm interested. If people are interested and if people need counseling, they will seek you. Why are you harassing me? Why are you coming here?
Because they're jerks. Like, maybe they have a quota. I don't know. But yeah, so why I included my aunt coming to visit. I had gone off to work. My mom had gone off to work. And my mom in this situation was my wife because I just white lied to get through it.
Yes.
And I had gone. We're both off at work. And then he shows up again and starts asking my aunt if myself and my wife had a chance to talk about this. And
are you Phil's wife? Oh, he really likes older women that look like him. Fuck.
It was
the Lord needs to help you.
I don't remember what Inga had said that the gentleman said to her, but he started to try and recruit her, and she's like,
"Oh,
look,
just her name alone, it sounds so exotic."
Inga? No, just don't talk about my aunt like that.
I'm not talking about
Watch your words.
I'm not talking about your aunt. I'm talking about when you say the name Inga, the flash of this hot wartime nurse from Europe helping you with your wounds.
Oh, that's my aunt, dude.
No, it's not your aunt.
It's fine. Let's not use the name Inga anymore.
Okay.
So, this alleged aunt, I forget what she had said, but apparently...
Ivanka?
Sure, we'll go with Ivanka.
Because that's also an exotic name.
It is. Or Olga, Helga, Ingrid. So...
Okay, I have a crush on Donald Trump's wife. There. You got it out of me.
That's Melina.
No,
Ivanka's his daughter.
Did I say his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a crush on his wife.
Who has a crush on
Justin Trudeau.
Joe Trudeau?
And that's where my crush started, because I saw the pictures of her
just gawking at him?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I wish a beautiful blonde
girl
would gawk at me.
Look at Justin. You melt just looking at him. Yeah, I don't know her exact words, but she said something along the lines of, "Look, I can barely afford to pay for myself. I certainly can't pay for a child." And just she said her bit and basically told him she wasn't interested, and he literally stops the door and was like, "Well, you can sign up and cancel it later." And all of that to say, I don't like being put in a position where you have to be a jerk to tell these people that you're not interested. Your cause may be noble, but I don't give a shit. It's unfortunate that these children are starving. It's unfortunate, but I can't pay for myself. I'm certainly not going to, start donating and help little Jasmine from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I have to stop paying because I lose my job. I'm not going to do that to that little girl.
Honestly, it's so unfortunate. Like, people coming to your house, coming to your doorstep, and just hitting you with a sales pitch should be illegal. You should not be allowed to do that whatsoever. But have you ever been on the streets of downtown and run into the Sick Kids volunteers?
No.
Man, they're great people. They're doing excellent work, but
they're ruthless from what I hear.
They're ruthless. They're stationed all over the city on major streets. So if you walk up Yonge Street, you'll run into two groups. You go down Queen Street, you'll run into some more groups. But when they say, "Oh, would you like to donate?" I'm not rich, man. I'm not rich yet. I still have to count my dollars.
I'm not rich yet. That's nice.
I have to count my dollars in cents to make it through the week. But I don't mind giving up $2. I don't mind giving $5, $10, $20. Now, you're pushing my buttons asking for $20. But if I have $1, $2, even 50 cents, I don't mind giving that up to some charity event.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing is so dangerous that these volunteers can't actually have physical cash on them. So you can't just say, "Oh, well, I only have $2 today. Here's $2." They try to like sign you up for like this annual, bi-weekly, um, you know, payment,
Hmm.
which is like somewhere between $20 and $40, which is just like another monthly bill added on to monthly bills that you can't.
Well, and it adds up too. And
Yeah, exactly.
like we keep saying, all of these causes are admirable. All these causes deserve money in some capacity, but you know, I don't like the idea that they're putting people in a position that, you know, well, little Timmy needs
Mhm.
spinal surgery, but we can't afford it
Yeah,
because we're not getting enough donations.
yeah. They try to sell you with like a guilt trip,
Hmm.
and then
They spin it.
you walk away being like, somebody could have helped Timmy's spina bifida, but instead of me giving $8, I went and bought 2 coffees,
Mhm.
and then yeah. But now it's like turning. It's this thing where you're like, yeah, I know what you're doing. Yeah, I hope Timmy's spina bifida actually ends his suffering.
No, and it's true though, because St. Kids has a pretty big spot in my heart from my own experiences through my nephews that have autism, through a kid I went to high school with. We are going into grade 10, and this
Mm,
young man had already gone through 13 different surgeries on his spine and neck.
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you must like live at Sick Kids. And he's like, sometimes I do.
Mm,
March break, I spend at Sick Kids because they're fixing my spine. It's summer holidays. I go there regularly, and I feel for them. I really do. But I don't have the financial means to help that cause. They've
exactly.
got my never-ending support. What they've done for me, what they've done for my nephews, what they've done for Eric, I think his name was.
Hmm.
Eric McDonald. There we go.
Hmm.
And I feel for them, but there's nothing I can do.
Hmm. See, right now, young people, we're in a tough spot because right now, our baby boomer parents, our baby boomer generation, they are still paying their own kids' debt, so they're not retiring.
Mhm.
They're like continuing to stay on for as long as they can to like maintain that annual salary. But I read some article the other day that said hydro, water, rent, cell phones, since the year 2000, all of those rates have tripled in price, but the Canadian worker salary has stayed the exact same.
No, it's
So it's got to a point where a lot of Canadians, especially with Kathleen Wynne's hydro bills, a lot of Canadians have to choose between electricity and water,
mhm.
electricity and food. Oh, my kid wants to play soccer. I guess we won't be eating this week.
Mhm.
That's the type of situations Canadians are facing. So when you ask someone for money and they say, I can only give you $1, and then you're like, no, that's not good enough. We need to sign you up for like a bi weekly payment. Like, come
No,
on.
and that is the catch-22 of charities. Is you know why isn't it give what you can, as opposed to here's what you're giving, and here's the the practical value of it, and as opposed to you've got $2 to $5 just floating in your pocket that you're probably just going to spend on coffee. Whatever. Give that.
Mhm.
And I wish that there was more charities, more situations, and even you talked about like sports for your children and like paying for food, paying for electricity and stuff. I wish that there was some form of system that actually worked where it's give what you can. I obviously there's a lot more to it, but I look at things like the Oshawa Public Library. I read an article last week that if you owe the library,
Mhm. Mhm.
if you bring in and donate food that then goes to the various charities around Oshawa, your late fee for your book, for your movie, is now waived.
Yeah.
I would love if electrical companies, if Kathleen Wynne and her stupid horse face would start to implement things that put us in a position that we can help without hurting ourselves.
Exactly.
I don't want to take away from my own livelihood. or my niece's college fund. Obviously, I'm not paying for that, but my point is that I don't want to take away from my own family
Hmm.
just on the off chance that this money I'm giving to Christian Children's Fund or Mormons or sick kids or whoever, on the off chance that the money's going to actually help something. For all I know, the money's just going to disappear into the greasing the wheels.
Yeah, it's not just asking for money. You're actually asking a person to make serious self-sacrifice to like give to your charity, and unfortunately, most of us need charities. Like one of my good friends in the program, um, he had to use one of the food bank at school,
Oh, right, yeah, I know which person you're
and
talking about.
he went like on a weekly basis. And if that food bank wasn't there, what is my friend eating?
No, it's true though, and I saw him, or I walked with him to do that the one time, and I was blown away because I didn't go in out of respect for what they do, out of respect for him, but as they open the door, you can see the food that people have donated to the college for this food bank. I'm like, wow, there's like cases of Dr. Pepper, there's these wonderful things, and I'm like, see, why can't we help people in that way? Why isn't it, I don't have money, but I've got a fucking plethora of shitty vinyls that my dad used to listen to. Why can't I give
Hey, hold
those?
on to those. Those are coming back.
Well, I don't actually have vinyls. My main point is that I wish that
What?
there
You
was
lied to the audience.
I wish that there was some kind of barter system on this is what I have. This is what I can give.
Mhm.
Please don't guilt me. Please don't make me feel like an ass clown because I haven't given you actual money. Like
Yeah,
specifically
very.
with sick kids, because I had my own experiences there. I would love if somehow instead of well, I mean, I would love if I could give them money, but I would also like that if my giving back to them was something as simple as going in and talking to other kids with cerebral palsy, with to other kids with epilepsy, and really sharing with them and their parents the experience and helping them in other ways than just lining the pockets of government fat cats.
Great point. Great point. Because I just saw this thing that just kicked in where um, hospitals in Ontario increased their parking costs by 150%.
Jesus.
So if you had a loved one that was in the hospital and they were there for over 4 weeks, you in the past you could buy like a monthly pass,
Mhm.
a flat rate, and I think it was maybe like $150, and it was just like a flat rate. You could go there, you could park, and I think that same pass now is like $300 and something dollars. But if you're just paying like on a day-to-day basis, you're paying somewhere between $25 and $50 a day for parking. If your loved one is in the hospital and you have to take time off work and you're also taking care of your loved one,
Mm.
how are you going to afford something like that?
Well, absolutely, and
It's insanity. But man, Phil, we emotionally we've on this episode we've gone up and down, back up again, and I don't know where
oh, it's
we've
been an
lived.
emotional roller coaster.
We lived. You lived the life of Frodo Baggins in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
You
You
lived the life of Merry and Pippin, also Lord of the Rings.
you lived the Canadian lifestyle of the Revenants. You survived ice, slush, technological failures. I think you mentioned a bear in there somewhere.
There was a lot of scary people, yeah.
I I lived out the odds today where my iPhone child was alone and isolated on a bus for about 45 minutes. No one touched it, no one stole it. An applause almost broke out for my iPhone. I call him Appleton, reunited with his parent.
It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of magic. And we've touched on a lot today. And, I think that going forward we can continue to touch on a lot of things.
Mhm.
But I feel like we should end on a happy note because we took kind of a sadder, more dramatic tone near the end.
Okay, well, I
So,
have a happy note to add.
by all
Would you like
means.
to go first? Well, last week I discussed a little bit about my love life. I said I was going to sign up for Plenty of Fish and I was going to sign up for Tinder and I was going to let everyone know
Tinder sex.
how my how my love life was going to be. So I successfully signed up for Plenty of Fish, and I guess I was doing some window shopping, but nothing has really came out of it.
Hmm.
But then I fat shamed myself.
You fat shamed yourself.
Yeah, I was getting ready to sign up for Tinder, and it got to the point where they were asking me for my photo, and I didn't really have any good pictures of myself, so I was a little disappointed. But it's been my birthday week on top of a Valentine's Day week, so I've just been eating ice cream cake and ice cream cupcakes and chocolate and Ferrero Rocher, and
Rocher.
I drank chocolate milk before I went to bed, and I just looked every picture I took. I was just like, "Who is this fat slab?"
Where does this get pleasant?
I don't know where it gets pleasant, but friends, I'm gonna man up. I'm gonna take my picture. I'm gonna throw it on Tinder. I'm gonna see what happens, and hopefully, next week's episode, I'll either have a great love story for you, or I'm gonna have a hilarious story of failure.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a story of failure, but there you
Oh,
have it,
Phil, come
folks.
on, man.
The art of unemployment.